Hello my friends, Mr. Nomad Ben here. We're picking it up again on the Highway 411 series of second part of many parts on this trip. We're heading to the end point of Newport, Tennessee, and then eventually we're going to make our way from Chatsworth to the starting point in Leeds, Alabama. That is the goal for the spring and the summer of 2025 for this little series before the fall content happens. But also, I also got some pre-recorded vlogs for you guys because I have a very busy April ahead of me before I can go back on the road for part 3 of this trip. So luckily I have 2 parts recorded for you. This is the second part from Highway 411, and then after this we're going to take a break from the highway trip. I'll give you guys a couple of Chatsworth, Georgia centric vlogs, and then a little bit of a Chattanooga one, and then we'll go back on the highway. But sit back, relax. We're going to start part 2 of the Highway 411 trip. We're starting from Tennga, Georgia, and we're going to make our way to Englewood, Tennessee. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the highway trip. A lot of abandonment history in a really cool small town right out the highway. So let's enjoy ourselves and enjoy this little trip. And here we go.
It's all about where you've been, Nomad Ben. Tell us all about the finer points of living and just traveling. Food, beer, history, nature quest, every corner of this all to the great Midwest. Tell us all about where you've been, Nomad Ben.
So as I left Tennga, Georgia, and crossing into Tennessee, I came across a really cool old advertisement for Rock City. So I pulled over and I had to check this out and show it off for y'all. Gotta let the gimbal kind of do its magic. Right here, my friends, look at this old Rock City advertisement. See Rock City? Have a tweet time with your flock. That is a really cool little advertisement right off of 411. I wish I could find out what year the Bluebirds were for the Rock City barn advertisement. But I do know there are actual Rock City barns throughout Lookout Mountain area and perhaps Tennessee, but you can see at the top of the mountains and you'll see advertisement for See Rock City. So I made it to Benton, Tennessee right off of 411, and a little history about this little town in Polk County, that this town was named after a U.S. Senator from Missouri, Thomas Hart Benton. So just kind of looking around here just to see what there is to explore in this little town. You got the Polk County Courthouse right over here, and then you got an old-timey drugstore and a hair salon. Kind of look across the street over here. You got an eagle and an angel. As I always say, there's always a guardian angel looking over your shoulder. But however, you got America. Oh yeah. And you can't get any more southern than this. Faith in Football hair salon right over here. Oh, and look at that. I didn't even notice this. This drive-through. This has a drive-through at this drugstore. It looks like they are in operation Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 5:30. There's Trustworthy Hardware, and it looks like it's no longer in operation, just by the looks of it. But talk about a little throwback. Look at this old "Don't Walk and Walk" signs. It's actually the ones written in letters instead of the hand and the walking person. And as I'm filming, it is getting close to Easter time. Little Easter festivities going on in this town. And Shrek the Musical happening. $5 a ticket. We'll kind of make our way down this street over here. There's an Etowah Lodge right over here. And of course they have the little memorial for those who have protected our country. So this little placard is actually the Ducktown units. Oh, it's for the Confederate soldiers, okay. But it was erected in April 2009. I know it's very unpopular history to talk about Confederate soldiers, but it is part of American history. All the Benton units from Ducktown, which Ducktown is not terribly far away. And here's Korea and Vietnam. Then right here, like the prisoners of war missing in action. All the flags. Dedicated to the memory of the men of Polk County, Tennessee, who gave their lives, and to all who served in World Wars I and II, erected in July 2nd, 1949. Just seems so long ago these wars have happened. All from Civil War to World War I and II, Vietnam and Korea. Least we forget, dedicated to the veterans of Polk County who served during Korea, Vietnam, and the Persian Gulf. Gotta remember those who fight for our freedoms. You got here a little carving of the cross right outside the Polk County Courthouse. The Biltwell Bank is just right over there. And here's some history here too. Civil War in Polk County. Like most of Appalachian Tennessee, Polk County was divided land during the Civil War. Residents formed both Confederate and Federal units. Benton, the county seat, was a regional crossroads, but Ducktown, where Bora Bora Copper Company operated valuable mines, was strategically significant. Mining continued until 1863, while the Confederate Army controlled the area. Once Federal troops occupied the county, the mines closed until the war ended. So we are here. Here's Cleveland, Tennessee. The Copper Hill is down here. Then I want to make my way down to Copper Hill one of these days, because there's a kind of where all the three states meet right here, or very similar. That's how close we are to North Carolina. So really Georgia and Tennessee right here, but North Carolina is literally a skip and a hop away. I think my friend Chet Guthrie, the Dream Poet, was here last time, long time ago, I think. That's an adventure for another time, for sure, because there's a nice little town. Like Ducktown, of course, Turtletown, and I know the Fields of the Woods in the North Carolina, somewhere over here, where we're going to continue reading. Bushwhacking and small skirmishes intensified after federal occupation. John P. Gatewood, a Confederate partisan from Georgia, was the most notorious guerrilla in the region. In the November 1864, Gates' gang rode through the Polk County, robbing and killing Unionist residents. The violence accumulated in a so-called Maiden Branch Massacre near the Georgia state line, where Gatewood's men executed several unarmed Unionists. And then here's bushwhackers in action. One of Tennessee's most interesting mid-20th century Civil War monuments, the Cherokee Memorial Forest, began in 1942 as partnership between the Cleveland chapter of the United Daughters of the Confederacy and Cherokee National Forest. As part of the federal land reclamation program for the Ducktown area, the group planted 115,000 trees on the 103-acre tract as living memorial to the number of Tennesseans who fought for the Confederacy. I like to thank all one of our biggest forests in a way for that. In February 1865, 9 local scouting for the Confederate General John C. Vaughan, and led by Captain Philip Bible. Interesting. Philip Bible. 62nd Tennessee Mounted Infantry camped in the Chilhowie Mountain as settled in for the night. A detachment of Union Colonel Spencer C. Boyd's 5th Tennessee Mounted Infantry fired on them. They scattered, losing 3 men. Boyd was prominent Polk County citizen. A brief account of the fight and its participants has been attached into several stones located in the Confederacy Camp historical site in the Chilhowie Mountain Road. One of the stones, T.B. Haney, a Confederate soldier, was killed here, February 1865. And there's the stones right here, as you can see. A lot of reading, but very interesting. So about north of Benton, right off of 411, I came across this establishment, the Steel Wheel. It's a restaurant diner with some gifts. It's also the Hot Rod Shop. You can't get any more throwback than these kind of establishments right here. And then there's some outdoor seatings and some things for the kiddos to play in, like some swings and a little 4-way basketball court over here. But check this out, friends. This is an old-timey car that's at the entrance of this restaurant. This car reminds me of from the movie Brave Little Toaster, if you guys know what I'm talking about. During that sad time of the movie where all the appliances were in the junkyard and all the cars are being crushed. So this looks a lot like one of the cars being crushed. But still, this is a cool vehicle. Very old-timey. I wanted to get a glimpse of this and show off the outside of that restaurant. But doing the review, looking at the reviews on the Google page, this restaurant's reviews are 4.4. They got your all-American food, burgers, chicken fingers, and all that good stuff. So now I can smell the food out here. It actually smells really good out here. Kind of a little close and personal look on the outside of this restaurant. Little fire pit during the colder times. And here's the barbecue pit. And this, I just got to get a kick out of this. Remember when gas was at these prices? Because it's been a long time since we've seen gas this low. That's pretty cool. Steel Wheel Restaurant. Man, that smells good out here. It's making me hungry, so let's get out of here. So I'm in the town of Etowah, Tennessee, right off of 411. Little sign that says volunteering since 1957, because you know that Tennessee is a volunteer state. Donated in honor in memory of Walter and Bernice Ingram. I wanted to walk over here for a second because old abandoned and no longer established gas station here, or defunct is probably the most appropriate word because this is what's left of all this. No idea what the name of the gas station was. So all you got left is here. Where all the pumps would used to be. But I want to walk across the street over here because there's even more interesting things over here that caught my eye when I was driving. I know there's something going on at the Seven Treasures Variety Shop. Another old gas station, Jack's Auto. Same price, cash or credit. Only regular gas. But what caught my attention here, and this abandoned Jack's Auto over here, is this old Coke machine. I believe it's just normal Coke, or was it the New Coke kind of look to it, or else it said New Coke, but just old Coca-Cola signage right over here. Well, let's see what they got here, if we could read it through the faint things. There's the Minute Maid sodas. I remember those when I was a kid. And I believe that could be Hawaiian Punch all crumpled up. But there's a Sprite. And then there's Minute Maid lemonade soda or something like that, or some kind of a lemon drink. Change dispenser. So you change left in here? Nope. But this place is no more. It says closed. Call again. They'll be back at 3:55. And I guess they forgot to return to work. Highway 411 takes you to the very heart of downtown Etowah, Tennessee. Right over here, Two Dudes Barbecue Catering food truck over here. But so I was just over there with the abandoned Jack's Auto and the no longer gas station. But you got all these old buildings over here alongside. Then you make your way this way on this side of downtown. You'll see an old-timey theater right ahead of me, kind of like the Wink Theater in downtown Dalton, but it's something special on its own over there. And over here, Etowah L&N Depot, the Railroad Museum down in this direction, and then you got the little bit of the rail yard, and of course the veterans that we don't want to forget who fought for our country. Trying to take a moment. I know we did one earlier in Benton. Well, let's just take a quick second right here. So there's the museum on the other side. A lot of people from the Korean War that volunteered. Freedom is not free. And this was erected, this particular monument, dedicated to Veterans Day, November 11, 1998, by the contributions from families, members, and friends of Company A. Now the museum is this way, which I could definitely make this another time because my son loves trains. And I really want to eat at that restaurant. And I would like to completely complete 411, getting to Seymour, Tennessee, which we're not going to be able to do in this adventure. So there's going to be some things I'm going to make up on this trip. And this railroad museum may be a place. But I need to make sure it's vlog friendly. But we can at least vlog this since we're outside. Pause if you want to read. Of the Louisville and Nashville L&N. Built in Etowah between 1904 and 1906. And there's one of the L&N cabooses. Look at L&N cabooses. What was I saying? Little tongue-tied. I'm just so excited vlogging again. But there's the Corbin division. Because remember when we went to go see the Colonel in Corbin, Kentucky? It's all part of that as well. And look at this over here. They got an L&N plant. Look at that. But clearly the train yards are still active. We'll definitely come here another time. And another memorial right here. Erected in the year 1922 by the citizens of Etowah in the 3rd District of McMinn County. And here is an old bandstand here. It's been here since 1931. The stone in this bandstand donated by Mr. and Mrs. August J. McClary, a memorial to their son, Junior. So I always like to say, I just touched some history. And right beside me is the Etowah City Hall and Cousin Jake's Food Truck Park. So I guess Cousin Jake is on the move because I don't see the food truck right now, but kind of an interesting take on that. I wanted to get a little closer because I love old establishments like these. The Gem Theater. You know, it kind of reminds me a little bit, not exactly like it, but a little bit like the Aztec Theater from The Simpsons. Kind of has that kind of look to it. It says Church Abandoned Worship and Vision Night, March 29th at 6 p.m. They got over here a bunch of rubble of a demolished building. I wonder what they're going to build over here. I wanted to get a little bit more closer to the theater because it looks like they got a little art studio here. If you guys can see it. The Art of Alan Sibley. Okay. Out of my mind. All right. So a little rocket ship. And then here's the theater, up close and personal. Gonna take just a good look at it. We're not gonna go inside. But this is where the ticket booth would be. Want to go see a good show. In a little history of the Gem Theater itself, right here. Now pause if you want to read. There are a bunch of newspapers and pictures of the establishment. Now they get little schedules of what's happening in the town of Etowah. Because there's the art music, the art establishment right behind us. And the Hiwassee River Scenic Railroad. Like I said, my son loves trains, so I have to make another trip up here to complete the 411 trip. Because to get the feel of the old lights. The historical lectures. And a random bear. And some more history about the theater. Now look at this cartoon. Martin's Theaters. I guess that's Martin right there. Martin the Movie Man or something. I said, pause if you want to read if there's any of the history that you guys would like to capture. That is cool. Right through the doors. The lights are still on. I see an old countertop in there too. This is cool. Now Etowah will definitely be something I would like to come back to, considering that there's the museum right over there with the Veterans Memorial Park we were just at. But it not just reminds me a little bit of Chatsworth, Georgia, but also it reminds me a little bit of Cedartown, Georgia as well. You're kind of like stuck in a time warp at this place. Like what's the future and what's the past all at the same time. You got old stores, and you got newer stores and abandoned stores. You just got a little bit of all three things happening here. But it's very interesting kind of feel to this place. And here I am, the ending of the first leg of this trip off of 411. But we're going to end it here in Englewood. But this little town, just right off of 411 over here, off of 411 and Englewood Street. Over here you see the Telco Junction Cafe. Englewood Textile History Museum over here in the City Hall. Just another one of them old Americana throwback kind of deals of a town. But here's the Englewood station from 1906 to 1970. And all what's left is just a big parking lot. But part of old-timey history that happened here in Englewood, Tennessee. And that, my friend, ends part 2 of my adventure on Highway 411. I didn't really care of how I recorded the end of that particular vlog, and plus a lot of changes happened during the timeline as I filmed it. So luckily, as I was kind of filming the Chattanooga, my very chill Chattanooga vlog for the future Northgate Mall and partial Eastridge adventure, so I want to go ahead and conclude part 2's adventure for 411 here. I hope you guys stay tuned for some great things. I got a couple of Chatsworth vlogs ahead of you, and then of course a little chill adventure in Chattanooga and Eastridge as we explore Northgate Mall. I'm gonna have a very busy April, so at least I can get you guys prepped for the rest of the month of April 2025, and then eventually I'm going to go back on the road on 411 to complete parts of Englewood, maybe to Sevierville or Pigeon Forge, because the ending point of 411 is Newport, Tennessee. So we got a little ways to go on that trip. Hopefully got 2 more parts to film. I got to get up extra early to get to those destinations. And of course I want to film the Bush's Baked Beans Tour Museum. I don't really know how much it costs or it's free to the public, but I know it's outside of Pigeon Forge, so that's definitely something I want to do for the channel, part of the 411 adventure. So friends, I hope you guys enjoyed the part 2 of 411. Stay tuned next week. We're going to go back to Chatsworth, and we're going to go to the grand opening of Collector's Asylum and Magnolia Boutique hybrid shop. It's kind of a his and hers kind of shop in downtown Chatsworth. It's great if you are like a married couple or you're dating or wherever you guys are in your relationship, and let's just say you want to go check out some anime or some Pokemon and all that good stuff, or play some video games. There's a side of the store that focuses on that, and the other side focuses on like boutique stuff and some clothing. So it's a really cool store. So stay tuned next week for that particular episode. I'll see you guys next week. And as I always say, my friends, eat well and keep your mind walking. I'll see you guys later. You know, like I said, it's just kind of weird when you run into little towns like these, especially on 411 or different parts of Georgia, mainly just back roads, wherever you're at. You got a subway, well-established, nice-looking subway over here, and then you got this destroyed or abandoned gas station or any kind of business, Castrol Tire and Lube, just a shell of a building. Old America. Now on my way home, I had to capture this old signage of a Piggly Wiggly, and the actual old grocery store is over here. Trying to get a closer look. If there's anything we could see at the old Piggly Wiggly. There's a Family Dollar on the other side. You guys can see inside the old Piggly Wiggly. There's absolutely nothing left in here. All gone. But you know, the reason why I had to stop here at the Piggly Wiggly just reminds me of that 70s show when Fez and Kelso wanted to pick up some ladies, especially older women. They said, let's go to the Piggly Wiggly. And Fez goes, oh, I love the Piggly Wiggly. They got candy. And then Kelso would say, and also older women and pretty girls, Fez. He goes, yes, I know. And they got candy. I don't know, it just kind of reminded me of that. But that is so cool to see old Piggly Wigglies. You don't see these anymore. Last thing I want to capture, I saw this on my way home too. Another old Sea Rock City advertisement. So in Tennga, we saw bluebirds, and now you see a dog. out of the Sea Rock City barn. Nice.